Well, as you can see from the state of our bombarded blue squash plant here, we are at war with a very insidious couple of insect pests in the garden.
Well, guys, you know how we pride ourselves on growing squash, but this year we have a problem. So not only were we a little bit late getting the squash planted. Now, granted, we did start it all ahead of time in the greenhouse, so you know the plants had a start. We got them planted mid-June, a bit late for getting them out in the garden, so they're slow to start anyways. But now we have bugs. We've never, touch wood, it's a little late now, but we've never really had an issue with squash beetles, cucumber beetles, that sort of thing before. I mean, the cucumber beetles were always kind of around, but never super invasive. But this year, we're seeing some problems. So I'm going to show you what we're looking at with our squash in our squash patch. Basic decimation. They're trying, but they're getting eaten. Next one. Eaten. Oddly enough, I have not actually seen the bugs on the squash, but we know they're there. So this row here and the two plants over here are a big blue squash, the ones that we put away for winter that we don't really know what they are. And they seem to be really getting hit hard. Oh, here's one. See, it's the cucumber beetles in there. Look at them. Right there. I'm going to squish those in a second. They are causing trouble. Oh, they're gone. If I show you, if you look right down in there, he's right in the heart of that leaf. And I just saw one scurry away from me off this leaf. Oh, it flew away now. So they're there. So one interesting thing that we're noticing is that they're not super heavy on the Canada crookneck, which is wonderful. Obviously, that's a great asset, I suppose, to the Canada crookneck squash. But they are doing all right. We're still going to get them fixed up just in case. But so far, the cucumber beetle is causing some problems. We haven't seen any of the actual squash beetle, though. So how are we going to tackle this problem, you ask? Well, basically we're going to do the same thing that we do most years to tackle any bugs, like cabbage whites, things like that. We're going to make a garlic tea. I don't have any garlic left over from last year, and obviously the garlic's not ready to pull out. So, conveniently, we have something else ready. The garlic scapes are ready to go. Now, obviously, my plan is to make pesto and wonderful things like that out of these, but since I don't have garlic, we're going to be taking these and steeping them overnight to make some wonderful bug repellent. So our garlic tea is really quite simple. I mix it in my big cooking pot. It's usually about 12 liters or 3 gallons, and I'm kind of winging it with the scapes because I've always used whole bulbs of garlic. So we're going to try it with probably about 40 scapes in it. You want it really good and strong, especially for that first dose. And then basically what you do, take the scapes out and you put in 1 teaspoon of Dawn dish soap or whatever kind of, biodegradable dish soap you use, and put 1 teaspoon per liter. So this is quite wild. We are going to get a 5-gallon bucket of scapes per row. So we're almost done. Row 1, 2 more rows to go, and we had to go find some more buckets. This is awesome. Now maybe we'll quickly get Chris to demonstrate how to cut your scapes off.
So I'm just cutting it as close as possible to the sort of last leaf on the stalk, and ideally you do kind of want to let them curl. Most have done that, and there you go, a scape. It's beautiful. Well, garlic is one of those kind of funny crops where it's really beneficial, but it does take a little bit of labor, and one of the pieces of that is taking off the scapes. Now, to my knowledge, there's no mechanical way to do this, so you basically have to go out and cut them off as we're doing. But the reason why you would do this is kind of twofold. One, and probably the most important, is you're actually getting the plant to put more energy into the bulb. But of course, the secondary piece that I think Stephanie's already talked about is these scapes are an excellent second crop from your garlic, and they can be used in a bunch of different ways because they'll still give you that wonderful garlic flavor when you're cooking. Well, we have finished cutting off the scapes. And as you can see, that's a lot of garlic scapes.
We're in the house and it's late, so I apologize for the lighting, but we're going to make this tea tonight so we can get it on those squash tomorrow. So my plan is, this was 1 5-gallon pail emptied into our big bowl. It was just over 3 pounds of scapes. And what I'm going to do is actually just take the parts that I don't want for human use, like the pod, the flour, that sort of thing, or any bits that are woody. I'm just going to chop them and put them in here. I'm not exactly certain as to how much that is going to be, but maybe I'll keep it in a separate container until I dump it in. So there's the odd bits and pieces that I've taken off of the scapes that would normally be composted or whatever, and we're going to use them in this tea. So this is a 2-liter measuring cup. They're loosely kind of packed in there. I'd say it's about 1 liter of scape pieces. So we're going to put that in and see if it ends up strong enough. We'll bring you back in the morning. So we are the next evening. Our tea has sat for 24 hours. Like I say, this is our first time using the scapes for the tea. So hopefully it is strong enough. It certainly smells strong. I know you guys can't quite appreciate that, but it does. So we have our spray bottle here. We're going to strain as we go and fill that up and get out to the garden and put it to work. One thing I should mention here as well, this is a little 2-liter spray bottle. So we want to add some dish soap with this. Basically you want 1 teaspoon per liter. So I have 2 teaspoons of Dawn dish soap that I put in there. And you could also use like a baby shampoo, something like that. Dawn works great for us though. And then I'm just going to keep ladling until we're up to that 2-liter mark. So we are out here just about to spray, and what have I discovered? Eggs. Look at that. That's something you want to make sure, if you see that, get rid of it. Squish and get them off. Make sure you squish them. Ew. We better get these sprayed stat. Again, this is one of our big blue squash. You can see the squash or cucumber beetles right on there. I think this is even worse than what it was yesterday. So good thing we're getting out here. This is going to take a few days of applying in order to really be the deterrent we want. But we're certainly noticing they are going for certain types of squash a lot more than others. One thing you do want to make sure you're doing this in the evening. You don't want to spray them with the soapy water right before the sun hits them in the heat. This is good because it'll have time to kind of soak in and permeate for a little bit. And hopefully we can beat these guys. We did use this last year. Same mixture on for our cabbage whites and the cucumber beetles. It did work. Certainly was a good deterrent, but on our cucumbers we were just too late before we started. So hopefully that is not the case with these squash, because we all know Chris will be devastated if we do not grow enough squash. Chris already squished them, but there is the sign of our first squash bug as well. We are battling it big time this year. As an extra kind of added precaution here, we're going to try actually putting some dill seeds around each squash to see if they grow. Dill is also supposed to be an excellent repellent for the cucumber beetle and squash beetle, and we happen to have a huge tub of dillweed seeds. So we're just kind of scattering because we're not anticipating all of these are going to come up. We're not even really burying them. It's just sort of putting them down but they still smell like dill, so it could also be a deterrent, and if some grows, even better. So here we are. It's been 48 hours almost since we sprayed them. We're about to put a second dose on these, but as you can see, I think it was working as a deterrent because our new leaf has not been damaged. So I'm going to say that's a win. We're going to keep going with this and spray every couple days until we are sure that we've won the battle for the squash. Here's another one, and you can see the damage on those outer leaves, but the inner leaf, nothing, and we've even got more leaves coming.
Well, we are now about 72 hours.
Not quite.
Not quite 72 hours into this war. And as you can see, this particular plant, which actually also fared really badly because it did get stepped on, is making a comeback even after such a short period of time. But after 2 applications, you can see right there a striped cucumber beetle that one of the enemy taken down in the line of fire. So although we don't claim that this is going to rid your garden of pests the same way as a lot of modern chemicals, the soap and the garlic combined really is distasteful to them. There are a fraction, I think I've gone around watering today and I've counted, not including this dead one, 3 that I've seen. And it's warm, and usually when it's warm like this, the cucumber beetles are just swarming. So it is working, and as you can see, if you get right in there and cover them in it, it even kills them in their tracks. Well, as you can kind of see, like we said, we're 2 full applications in, and it's starting to look like we might have won this battle, although I'm sure we didn't completely win the war, or not yet. But there's a few things here to, I guess, consider. I mean, the garlic spray, we found this last year kind of by accident, that the striped cucumber beetles just detested it. We did use it a little bit on our cucumbers last year, not as religiously as we should have, so it didn't completely save them, but we definitely found out early on they don't like it. And if you're fairly aggressive with your spraying of that garlic and soap emulsion, it definitely seems to work, because we went from absolute swarms to a couple bugs. Now, as I say, is the war done? No. So hopefully the dill helps. We shall definitely see, and we have a few other tricks up our sleeve that we may apply later and talk about in another video. And
we're not going to get complacent. We're going to keep doing the spray every couple days.
That's the thing, is keeping vigilant on everything and monitoring what's going on, because these were planted out and literally like right away went from beautiful plants to just hammered. The bugs took advantage. So on that note, hopefully this is a good start off to getting us some squash production this year, because in the quest for food security and sovereignty and all that other stuff that goes along with fighting wars.
In squash you trust.
In squash we trust, and we need the squash to produce a lot of food for us. So on that note, hopefully you enjoyed this, and stay tuned for more updates.
And don't forget, like, comment, and subscribe.